All right, today we're jumping into a classic moral tale from Bengal, a story all about a vegetable seller named Champa. It's a really powerful look at how desperation can so easily slide into deception and how greed can just burn everything you've built to the ground.
So let's kick things off with a pretty big question, right? What does it take for an honest, hardworking person to cross that line and start cheating? Is it just one bad decision? Or is it more of a slow burn, a slide that happens because of their situation? That's really the core question in Champa's story.
Okay, so our story kicks off in this village called Chandanpur, and this is where we meet our main character, Champa. Now, her husband is too sick to work, which means, you guessed it, the entire burden of supporting their family lands right on her shoulders. So every single day, she's out there at her stall in the market, just trying to make an honest go of it.
You could hear her every day, calling out about her fresh vegetables. And she really truly took pride in what she did. People in the village knew her stall. They knew Champa sold the best stuff, the freshest produce. Honesty and quality, that wasn't just part of her business, it was her business. It was her whole reputation.
But here's the problem, her central conflict. There's this massive gap between how hard she works and what she actually gets for it. I mean, she's up before the sun, working nonstop all day long, and at the end of it, the money she brings home is barely enough to scrape by. She's just stuck in this endless cycle of poverty, and it doesn't matter how hard she works.
And that's the thought that just eats away at her every single night. You can just imagine the frustration building up, right? All this back-breaking work, all this honesty, and for what? Just to wake up the next morning in the exact same spot? It's that feeling of complete helplessness that really, sets the scene for the decision she's about to make.
And then the turning point arrives. One day, a farmer from the area comes up to her. He's in a bind himself, and he makes Champa an offer. It seems like a small thing, just a little opportunity, but trust me, it has the power to change her entire life.
So the farmer's vegetables, they're not looking so hot. They're wilted and he can't sell them for the regular price. He offers them to her for half off, but Champa, her mind is already working. She barters with him, gets him to go even lower, down to just a third of the price. You can see it right there. She's already spotted an angle.
And boom, right there, the idea just clicks into place. It's so simple, but it's also really, really deceptive. What if she took these super cheap, almost dead vegetables and just soaked them in water? Make them look fresh and new again. It's the shortcut she's been desperate for, a direct path to profit.
And look, this wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. It was a cold, calculated plan. Step 1, buy the rejected veggies for next to nothing. Step 2, soak them overnight, a simple little trick. And Step 3, sell this disguised, low-quality stuff to her customers, the ones who trust her, for top dollar.
So now we get to the next part of her story, her rise. And at first, her plan works like a charm, perfectly. The soaked vegetables look plump, they look fresh in the morning sun, and her customers, who still trust her good name, they buy them without even thinking twice. And just like that, the money starts to roll in.
But it doesn't stop there. The deception gets deeper. To explain why her prices are so high, she starts lying. She tells her customers that her own costs have doubled. You see how it works? One lie leads to another, and it all just snowballs into this massive web of deceit. And the scary part is, she gets more and more comfortable with it.
And man, was this scheme effective? I mean, her profits didn't just go up a little bit, they tripled. 3 times what she was making before. That kind of instant, huge reward for being dishonest, well, that's pretty hard to walk away from.
And you can see the difference right here. It's just staggering. That little bar, that's what she was making with all her honest hard work. And that huge, towering bar next to it, yeah, that's the mountain of cash she's making from her lies. It really shows you just how tempting this path was for her.
And at this point, she makes a decision. This isn't a temporary fix. She consciously decides to leave her old, honest ways behind for good. This wasn't just a one-time thing to get by. No, this became her new business model. Greed had completely taken the wheel.
But we all know how this goes, right? A house built on lies is bound to collapse. And now we get to see the first cracks start to show. The very people she tricked are starting to get suspicious. They're noticing something isn't right. Here it is, the first real sign of trouble. Her customers are starting to complain. They're saying, hey, these vegetables looked great when I bought them, but they're wilted and spoiled in a day. See, you can trick someone's eyes for a moment, but you can't change the actual quality of the food. Reality always catches up.
And what starts as a few whispers quickly grows into a loud chorus of complaints. Her reputation, the most valuable thing she owned, is starting to just crumble away. The villagers are all starting to realize that the Champa they knew and trusted, well, she's gone, and in her place is someone selling them bad food.
Meanwhile, remember the farmer? The one who sold her the bad vegetables to begin with? Well, he's starting to get suspicious too. He notices this really weird pattern. Champa only ever buys his cheapest, most wilted stuff. She never, ever asks for the fresh produce anymore. So he decides he's going to figure out what's going on.
And this is the moment it all comes crashing down. The climax. The farmer follows her all the way to the market, and right there, in front of everybody, he exposes her entire scheme. He tells them her secret, that she's been buying his worst, almost garbage vegetables and tricking them all into thinking it was fresh. The betrayal is out in the open. It's public, and it's devastating.
You know, her rise to wealth was fast, but her fall from grace, that was even faster. And it's in that downfall that we find the real, timeless moral of the story.
The fallout is just immediate and it's brutal. The trust that took her years to build, gone, shattered in an instant. The villagers feel completely betrayed and they turn their backs on her. Just like that, her business, her entire livelihood, is ruined.
There's actually a Bengali proverb that sums this up perfectly. Ati lober tanti nosto. It basically means that too much greed doesn't just ruin the thing you're making, it destroys the machine that makes it. It's like you don't just lose the cloth, you break the loom. For Champa, her loom was her reputation and her customers' trust. In her greed, she didn't just lose one day's profit, she destroyed the whole system.
So in the end, all that's left for her to do is beg. Beg for forgiveness from the very people she cheated. But it's not coming. She finally understands how big her mistake was, but it is way too late. She took the easy shortcut, and it led her straight to a dead end. She lost her money, sure, but she also lost her honor, her good name, everything.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with that big question. Champa got the money she wanted, but she lost trust, she lost her reputation, she lost her entire place in her community. So it really makes you think, what is the real price of dishonesty? Is any quick, easy gain worth the risk of losing absolutely everything that actually